That's a lie. Those are the words I heard inside in court one day when a judge spoke to a solicitor who was sitting next to me inside in court. Now, when you hear a judge saying that, you kind of pay attention right away, because at the time I was writing notes on other cases I had that day. When I heard him saying that, you kind of pay attention and you sat up to hear what he was saying. But what he was saying was he was really annoyed with what the solicitor next to me had said to him. And that particular solicitor was representing a guy who had stolen a bottle of vodka or whiskey or something from a supermarket in town. And what he was doing was he was peddling back to the judge what the client had told him. I think the excuse was something along the lines of he left the store without realizing his bottle of wine was inside in his pocket, or something like that. Now, as solicitors, our job is to tell the court what our client's instructions are. So in other words, we tell the court what our client has told us. We're not saying it's true, we're saying that's what they've told us happened, Judge. And what happened was, in that particular case, the judge said that what the client had told him was a complete lie. It had absolutely no basis in reality or fact whatsoever. He then looked at the particular client's previous convictions, which were lengthy for theft. And so he came to the conclusion that it was absolutely impossible that a person with this many convictions for theft could have honestly, mistakenly left the store with a bottle of whiskey or wine or whatever it was inside his pocket without realizing it. And what the solicitor was doing inadvertently was to insult the judge. He was telling him something which was patently untrue, that anyone inside in court could tell was untrue. And so it was giving the impression to the judge that, I don't think the solicitor meant this, but that you think I'm that stupid, I'm going to believe that. Naturally, that's called insulting a judge's intelligence, and that always ends badly for the person who does that. Now, I knew the solicitor well. He's a good guy, a young guy, perhaps inexperienced, and he certainly wasn't a liar, but what he had done was he had transmitted verbatim what had been told to him by the client. That's actually not the wrong thing to do. You are supposed to give your clients instructions, but solicitors sometimes struggle with that by saying, well, I don't want to call him a liar, but this is clearly not true, so what should I do? There's one way around that I've always used over the years, and it kind of puts this thing to bed right away. You can tell the client, look, I can tell the judge that if you want, but if I do, they won't believe me, and then they'll take it out on you. And usually that elicits the next response, which is to say, okay, let's forget about that. Let's try and tell the truth. Your job as a lawyer is to give your clients instructions, but you're not a cipher. You're not just someone who just peddles back, head back, mouth open, accept what they tell you and peddle it back to the judge. You've got to critically assess what they're saying and advise them of what could go wrong if they proceed down this road. And what happened to that guy in that case? Well, the judge, having heard everything he needed to hear, jailed him for 6 months. So the lesson is, judges are not stupid. Just because you say something doesn't mean they believe it. There has to be some basis in reality to what you're saying. And that applies to solicitors giving the court their client's instructions.